Welcome to Fade or Fly with Mike and the Feather, your weekly football podcast recorded right here in the heart of Sin City. Join Mike and the Feather as they dive into the world of sports bet predictions, game analysis, and serve up a healthy dose of Vegas-style humor. Whether you're looking to ride the winning streak or soar to new heights in your football knowledge, this is the podcast for you. Let's embark on this gridiron adventure together from the entertainment capital of the world.
Welcome back in. We are here for Super Wildcard Weekend, as the NFL is calling it, which is technically Week 19 in the NFL. And we missed you guys in Week 18, so a belated Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Feather. Jason talked about it a couple of weeks ago, too. The last week or two in the NFL is usually, to put it bluntly, a proverbial shit show between teams playing for nothing that seemingly win games they shouldn't be winning, backup quarterback battles, resting players. So we just decided last week, if we're not going to have any good information to give you, we don't want to just put something out for the sake of putting it out. We'll be a little more communicative in the future. But anyway, all that's just to say, welcome back in. We're glad you're here. Since we got 6 games coming up on tap, including a team that got into the playoffs there, the Green Bay Packers. You knew we were going to talk about this one, right? You knew it had to come up. Packers battle back from a 2-5 start to end at 9-8 to get into the playoffs as a number 7. Is that correct? Number seven. Hey, as long as you're in the playoffs, you're in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And I'm just going to put it out there, man. You talked to me before we even started recording the show. You made the bet. You took the Packers in the beginning of the season for over 7.5 wins, and you got it.
And I do believe it to be true that the Green Bay Packers are going to be an outstanding team this year. They're going to shock the world. I'm going to tell you right now, run to Vegas, run to your local bookie. Green Bay, 7.5 point over-under total wins. You can take it to the bank. It's my first 5-star lock of the decade. 7.5 wins. You take the over to the bank all day. I don't care how you want to do it. Take out a second mortgage.
Okay,
spend your kid's college loan.
Yeah, I mean, I told everyone I love the over 7.5. Green Bay hasn't been in an over-under situation that low and probably since Brett Favre. So exciting stuff. I mean, Green Bay is looking great. Jordan Love, there's no quarterback that's playing better than he is the last 8 weeks. I mean, he has just been unbelievable. He was the offensive player of the week the last 2 weeks of the season. He had a huge game against the Chicago Bears, and it's official. The transfer is complete. Aaron Rodgers transferred over his daddy privileges to Jordan Love, taking over being the Chicago Bears daddy because he gave them a spanking in his first 2 career games. And now, Chicago Bears, you are now 0 in the last 10 against Green Bay. Pretty pathetic, guys. Pretty pathetic. So keep talking, Chicago Bear players, as you did all week leading up to the game, how Green Bay's not much. These receivers are not much. Jordan Love isn't anything special. And then you guys put up 9 points, and Jordan Love put up 300-plus passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and a near-perfect QBR rating. Boom.
All right, so I guess you still like the Packers, but let me put it this way. Let's just say, because the Super Bowl is here, Las Vegas this year. I mean, this would be a dream scenario, but what would you do if somehow your Packers get to the Super Bowl here in Las Vegas and win in Jordan Love's first season?
All right, so I've already told this to some of my friends so far. Mike knows, probably a handful of people know. I am going to be getting Green Bay Packers Super Bowl very specific tattoo in the event, or when, I don't want to jinx it, but in the event Green Bay wins the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, a city that I live in.
Where are you going to fit this?
You know, I keep hearing this question.
Get like the Yakuza back tattoo, the whole thing. Yeah. It's like, he's like your tiger. That's what you need.
Yeah, people are like, a mural on your whole back. But I'm like, dude, seriously, my back? Someone else made the comment like tramp stamp. I'm like, no, I'm not doing my head. Okay, there's no tattoos going on this.
That was my suggestion.
This is my moneymaker here, baby. But
and he's broke, just so you know.
Maybe on my back somewhere, on my calf. It's not going to be small. It's going to be a sizable tattoo, you know. So bottom line, Green Bay wins the Super Bowl. Boom. This could be it could be a live stream for all we know. We'll see what happens.
Oh, honestly, if this happens, there's any tattoo artists who watch, I will totally work with you to set up a live stream of doing this to get us all publicity. Well, before this turns into the Green Bay Packers podcast, which is already quite a few out there, let's just talk about your team. Legitimately, you guys do look strong as far as a young team. You're the youngest team in the NFL overall by age of your average players. You got a very deep wide receiving core.
Yeah, I mean, right now Green Bay has been doing well this year with not one, not two, but three practice squad wide receivers that have found success. One of them has gone for over 100 yards in a game. One of two total games all year that any receiver went for over 100 yards in a game. I made a lot of predictions that Jordan Love is going to be that guy. I said a lot of things in regards to this young, dynamic wide receiving core that's able to get separation. I said Jordan Love is going to be a top quarterback. I even went so far in some predictions to say, I'm not going to go as far as say future possible third Hall of Famer. But you know what? Right now, statistically, where he's sitting, long way to go. But he looks outstanding, athletic, dynamic. A lot to be happy about, a lot to be excited about in regards to the Green Bay Packers. So, yeah. Anyway, made some good predictions in regards to those guys this year, and they seem to have all come true so far. So,
and we'll be talking about the game against the Cowboys too later on with picks and predictions.
Yep.
So which
all the playoff predictions we got 6 games for you for picks this week, so it's going to be exciting stuff.
Yeah, and I want to bring up one other thing. I mean, I want to talk about the Bills a little bit. People know I joke about being a Bills fan because of the Scott Norwood kick that he missed against the Giants in the first Super Bowl I ever watched the Giants in. That's why I wear autographed Scott Norwood jersey to the Westgate. I mean, it's my way of kind of trolling the Bills fans a bit. But also Josh Allen, who was a great quarterback, great for our fantasy team this year. You kind of talked about this too. I mean, they ran a table like you said they were going to do.
And the Bills are going to run the tables the rest of the year and get into playoffs, and they're going to shake it up.
Not all of them were pretty, but they got where they needed to be. They picked up the number 2 seed, and now they are in the playoffs, and they're going to have home games, starting with the Steelers, which we'll talk about too. But That was something else you felt the Bills really had it in them.
When they were 6-6 and they were going to go play the Kansas City Chiefs, I said they would absolutely beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and they would run a table and overtake the division and become division champions over the Miami Dolphins, which were heavy favorites and in a driver's seat, just a pure driver's seat to win the division. And they collapsed. And we'll talk more about that too. But
Josh Allen has to clean it up a little bit because 2 interceptions and a fumble, that's not going to work for the next 3 games.
No. He can't make these mistakes. They definitely, when they played Miami, it was ugly. I mean, to say the least, turnovers, interceptions, bad clock management before the half. But they got it done, and Miami's definitely has concerns because they couldn't score points and they couldn't get it done, and they've lost a couple key defensive players. But Buffalo's right where I said they'd be. They're number 2, and they're primed to put themselves in position to get to the Super Bowl.
All right, we'll get to other teams as well in today's podcast, but we wanted to mention, we kind of had the last-minute idea that this Monday night for the Eagles and Buccaneers game, we are going to go ahead and do another live stream like we did back on Thanksgiving, try and inject some life into a game that, who knows, could be good, could be bad, but Jalen Hurts, a little bit roughed up. I heard that Baker Mayfield has an ankle issue reported this morning. So that's going to be starting the live stream, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll go live about 15 minutes before the game. If you watch Thanksgiving, come and join us again. If you didn't watch it, check it out. We want to do a lot more live streams in the future. So it's kind of practice. It's fun. Expect bloopers and mistakes and things I can't edit out afterward. But you're welcome to join us. And remember, though, too, we don't actually show the game on the screen due to YouTube and NFL regulations. So you'll have to watch and keep us handy next to you on a laptop or a tablet or anywhere else that we happen to appear in your home. We thank you for having us in your home and looking kind of fun.
Yeah, tune in. It's gonna be great. We're gonna, come into the chat. We'll answer any questions about any of your teams, about the coaching situations with your teams, where we think certain coaches are gonna land in free agency. A lot of today. Pete Carroll got fired or let go or whatever. He's gonna still work with the team possibly, but a lot of coaching changes in the NFL. And on Monday we can discuss between Mike and I and yourselves. Where are these coaches going to go? Is Jim Harbaugh going to go to the Raiders? A lot of stuff to consider, but yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
It made me think too how early in the season you had another couple of predictions. You knew Ron Rivera was going to be gone by the end of the season. Oh, that may not have been too much of a prognostication because of his track record.
Right.
But my favorite one I remember is you mentioning Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't going to make it out of Week 6. You know what he didn't do? He didn't make it out of Week 6.
He didn't make it out of week 6.
That was that's an interesting situation too. But
not only that, he plays so bad that he was a healthy scratch because they didn't want him to get hurt, so they
Look
had
at
to pay him
him.
next year.
Yeah.
Same as Russell Wilson. That seems to be the way that teams are handling now. They're overpaying for some players, and then they realize it, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to cut our losses. We're not going to let them play. We're going to pay him out a little something and kick him to the curb. So,
hey, when Joe Flacco can do the same job for you for a quarter of the cost, if even that, then just saying.
Joe Flacco is well on his way to a made-for-TV movie. It could be a Lifetime movie, but it could be a major motion picture. If Kurt Warner could get a movie, I mean, Joe Flacco coming off the couch, throwing 300 yards a game, winning a Super Bowl, I feel like that's a movie, but we'll see.
Definitely.
To be seen.
All right, so of course we weren't here last week, so we do not have any recap for you. So we're going to jump into our first wild card weekend. Feathers, take it to the bank picks of the week.
Playoffs?
All right, we're going to break down all 6 games this weekend for you, starting with the 2 games on Saturday. First one at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It is the 11-6 Cleveland Browns at the 10-7 Houston Texans. Did I say it right? I didn't say Tennessee.
Correct.
All right, go Oilers. The Browns are currently a 2.5-point favorite at the time of recording. Texans, no one expected this. Not sure people expected much. Browns are Flacco-led, like we just talked about. So what do you think?
I mean, Vegas got this one wrong. I think they put the Texans at maybe over under 3 or 4 wins on the season, and they're at 10. A lot of diamonds in the rough were, found. Tank Dell, wide receiver, he's going to be sorely missed now with a season-ending injury. C.J. Stroud, I mean, how much regret the Carolina Panthers have that they didn't take C.J. Stroud?
Rookie of the year? Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year, sure. Yeah, I mean, his touchdown to interception ratio is the best in football. Young, dynamic player for years to come on a team that, has proven that they have a couple solid wide receivers. Nico Collins is a really dynamic receiver. Tank Dell, unfortunately, he's out. As far as this game goes, Cleveland's defense is the best in the business. Probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, whatever it was, when they figured, okay, we need to get a quarterback that can be a game manager and get it done. Let this defense handle the brunt of the work, and a quarterback that can manage and not make mistakes to get him over the hump. It appears as of right now that has happened. Joe Flacco has exceeded expectation in every way. He's thrown for 300-plus yards, multiple games in the regular season. Amari Cooper has been playing great. You got running back Jerome Ford, who's doing some good things. I expect more of it. I mean, between Myles Garrett, who could be up for Defensive Player of the Year, this Cleveland team all around is outstanding. The offensive weapon with David Njoku, tight end for Cleveland, that did us well in fantasy as well. My biggest concern for the Texans is I do not feel they have enough weapons due to injuries on the offensive side of the ball. They're facing no Tank Dell and a banged-up Noah Brown and Robert Woods. Both those guys may not play. They haven't practiced yet this week, so there's only so much C.J. Stroud can do. They have a mediocre running back in Devin Singletary and Pierce. So, bottom line, I think that this is a no-brainer. Jerome Ford, Amari Cooper, these guys are going to come out strong, and they're going to beat the brakes off of this young Houston Texans team. There's no way that Stroud, with no weapons in his arsenal at this point besides one receiver, and this defense that is mediocre to poor based on injuries and everything else on the Houston side of the ball, can keep up with Joe Burrow, that big arm, and this defense is going to wreak havoc on a young rookie quarterback. We're going to go all day long. Cleveland Browns, -2.5, 6 units. Yes, my 6-unit play, only had 1 or 2 of them this year. We're undefeated on those, and we're going to continue that streak as the Cleveland Browns are going to advance to the playoffs, round 2, and they're going to take the Houston Texans to the woodshed. It's going to be ugly. Boom.
When was the trade deadline in the NFL? It was like week 14 or 15, right?
No, before that, I'm not sure.
So when did Cleveland Browns get Joe Burrow? You said Joe Burrow. Before you started doing all this, you said Joe Burrow. And I was just going to let it roll. Yes, Joe Burrow. We know you meant Joe Flacco. So, yes, Joe Burrow and the Browns going to take it to the Tennessee Texans.
Joe Flacco, my bad.
Look, we both have our problems with these two teams. Let's just move on to the next one. This might be a chilly one. Well, it's going to be supposed to be -3. Yep, that's the 8 p.m. Eastern time game between the Miami Dolphins coming in at 11-6 versus the Kansas City Chiefs, also at 11-6. Chiefs are favored by 4.5 at home. I don't know if this cold weather is going to be good. Is it Dolphin safe?
Dolphins, Tua is 0-4 in games 45 degrees or colder in his career. So that's not ideal for him. This game, yeah, it's going to float around 0. You're negative now.
I think I heard negative this morning.
Yeah. A few days back, it was 10 degrees around kickoff. Now it's floating all the way down closer to single digits, 0, maybe negative. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold. It's going to be really cold for Miami Dolphins, who are not exactly a cold weather team. So, yeah, the Miami Dolphins, though, they have a lot of dynamic offensive players. Raheem starts having literally the game of his career, just by far. The guy has been reincarnated as a beast. And then they also discovered Devon Achane, who is crushing it as well. This 1-2 punch is huge, and they might need to lean on him a little bit because collectively, the skill position players from Miami are all banged up. Achane, Mostert, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, all banged up. Miami also lost a couple of defensive players for the season on the IR. And it's been kind of a shit show for them right now. That being said, this team is talented. It's dynamic. All these players are expected to play. It's the playoffs. Tyreek Hill, I'm sure, wants to come into KC, his former team, and he wants to scorch earth and prove that, what he said about how this team is better than any team he's been on in his career. And I just believe that Miami could very well come in, weather be damned, and get it done. On the other side of the ball, you got the Kansas City Chiefs in unfamiliar territory. They're a wild card team. They limped into the playoffs. Frankly, I think they're the worst 3 seed in the history of the NFL. They shouldn't even win last week. Granted, they benched everybody, but they shouldn't have beat the Chargers. They should be at 10 wins, and they should not have even got to 10 wins. My opinion is that the Chiefs should not even have made the playoffs. Literally, this team is bad on offense. Their defense literally carried them through the whole season. But on the offensive side of the ball, Travis Kelce had one of his worst years of his career, and he limped his way to almost 1,000 yards. But he's distracted. He's not playing well. Seems a little bit lethargic out there. The receivers, everyone's seen how they dropped so many balls. Worst wide receiving core in the NFL, most likely. Rashid Rice has been solid, and he's been a decent player. But outside of that, this Chiefs team just can't seem to put anything together. What do you think?
I think if Kelsey loses this game, Taylor's going to break up. I don't think she wants loser boys in her life.
The question is, will Pfizer drop him as a sponsor if they lose this game?
That's true. And will they drown their sorrows in chicken nuggies?
Will State Farm drop all of them? Because State Farm does not want to back a loser.
State Farm is apparently sponsoring the NFL because you can't go 10 minutes without seeing one of those damn commercials.
Yeah, they're spending some money, and it's probably reflecting in everyone's premiums. The injuries were the only thing that kind of stuck in me as far as, okay, can I go with Dolphins with all these injuries? And the answer is yes, I can. I love the hook. I love the 4.5 points. Take the 4.5 points, Miami plus 4.5, 2 units all day long. I think they're going to win the game outright still, but bottom line, the 4.5, too many points. I think if Kansas City gets it done, it's going to be a field goal right in that neighborhood, which means a Miami cover. Get it done. Miami, 2 units, boom.
All right, let's move on to some, I think, a little more interesting games for Sunday. We are going to have 3 games. We'll be at the Westgate this Sunday for those games, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We have the 10-7 Pittsburgh Steelers at the 11-6 Buffalo Bills. This is the biggest spread of the weekend right now, at least on Wednesday when we're filming. The Bills are at -10, which this is a weird one given how the Bills have played. The Steelers defense.
I mean, these are all playoff teams, right? So they all got here for a reason. The problem is the Steelers kind of limp in as a really, really weak 10-7 team because they lose TJ Watt in this game. TJ Watt, who's up for possibly defensive player of the year.
But Watt's up.
Is out. Watt's out. So with Watt out, that changes the line quite a bit, and that makes a difference. I mean, it's not much. I mean, but it does change the whole dynamic of Pittsburgh defense, which has had its problems in the defensive backfield, whereas TJ Watt, by getting to the quarterback, has eliminated some of those deficits in the backfield of the Steelers. But now they're exposed a little bit. Problem number two is Mason Rudolph has played pretty well for Pittsburgh, but this is in Buffalo. Buffalo's at home. They're hungry. They're sick of losing in the playoffs late. And I think that they're just going to take out a lot of tension. They're going to come together. The run game's going to be good. Cook, who's been a little bit quiet the last couple of weeks, he's going to come out strong. Josh Allen's not going to make the mistakes he has in the past. I think that all the receivers are going to get involved, and we're going to see Stephon Diggs have a big game, something he hasn't been doing a lot this year. I don't have the faith in the Steelers quarterback. I don't have the faith in their wide receivers right now. They're kind of discombobulated. Pickens has had his moments, but I just feel like they're going to need, the offseason to kind of put things together. And unfortunately for Steelers fans, it's not going to be this game because the Buffalo Bills are absolutely going to beat the brakes off the Pittsburgh Steelers. Take the Bills, 2 units, -10 all day long. This could be a 20-plus point game, but I definitely think it's going to be somewhere in a 14 to 17 point victory. Buffalo Bills at home. They're hungry. They want the respect, and they're going to say, boom, on to the next game.
All right. There's a kind of a meaningless game Sunday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's some rookie team. It's the 9-8 Green Bay Packers versus America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, coming in at 12-5. The Cowboys are -7.5. So how insulted do you feel?
This game is, I've been thinking about it all week long, been pumped up and doing my research and just kind of working through it. I've had conversation with some of my buddies via text. This is going to be a great game. I mean, here are the facts. The Dallas Cowboys are 0-5 at their stadium currently that they're in against the Green Bay Packers. Okay. Green Bay is 5-0 against them. Green Bay has won 9 out of the last 10 games against the Dallas Cowboys. Also a fact. Mike McCarthy traditionally is a choke artist. Did it with the Green Bay Packers, unfortunately. Cost us a Super Bowl or 2. But he did get 1 Super Bowl, so I got to give him credit for that. But, his vanilla coaching ways don't seem to get it done. Green Bay moved on from him. Dallas picked him up, and it's been a lot of sadness and disappointment for Dallas the last few years. That being said, this year, I think he's playing for his job. Mike McCarthy doesn't go to the Super Bowl. I think Mike McCarthy is fired. So a lot of pressure on him. It's going to be a heck of a game. You got CeeDee Lamb, who's an absolute beast. CeeDee Lamb is a stud. Jair Alexander is a shutdown cover corner that is cocky and arrogant enough that I think he could do it. Defense has been the big problem for the Green Bay Packers prior to the last 2 weeks. They've been atrocious. I mean, literally, they made the Giants look good. Enough said.
I'm just listening.
It's very simple. What's going to happen in this game? The reality is that I love the 7.5 points Green Bay. Plus 7.5. The Green Bay Packers are going to cover this spread and potentially, upset alert, win this game. I know even after all the great play from Jordan Love, these receivers, defense has come together the last 2 weeks. They're the hottest team right now. They're hot. Sometimes the playoffs, it's all about the hot team and the hot hand. And this team, they're 5 to 7 receivers deep. Aaron Jones is rushing like a rookie again. I mean, he's putting up 100-plus yards for the last 3 games, okay? They got 2 tight ends that are absolute studs. They're prototypical bodies, just like Travis Kelce, and they can catch the ball. There's a lot of talent in this team. And you know what? I believed in him from week 1. And I'm holding it. This is not a bias. I know I'm a Packer fan. Some people are gonna be like, oh, there's a bias here. Not at all. I like money. Bottom line is the Green Bay Packers are gonna get it done. Plus 7.5. It could be upset alert, but I love the 7 and the hook with the half. All day long. Green Bay Packers, 4 units, plus 7.5. Boom. Right here. Go Pack, go.
We're going to have one more game on Sunday night. And if you're not aware, this is probably one of the, again, you say the NFL is not scripted. Okay, let me make sure I get this one right. Okay, one take. It is the 8 p.m. Eastern time game between the 10-7 LA Rams At the 12-5 division-winning Detroit Lions, Lions are favored by 3 points. This is Matthew Stafford coming back to play against his old team who got rid of him on the team he went to go win a Super Bowl with. And on the other side, you have Jared Goff coming back on the opposite team to play against his old team. So what is the Feathers' expert prediction on this clearly not scripted quarterback matchup?
Once again, it's a huge matchup. I mean, you're both former quarterbacks on each team going off against each other. Matt Stafford wants to prove something. He never could deliver the Super Bowl or the big wins for the Detroit Lions. He went to LA and boom, right away, Super Bowl. You know, Jared Goff on the other side, they didn't believe in him at all.
Right.
In LA, and they figured Jared Goff was not going to be what they needed to win a Super Bowl. They were right. They shipped Jared Goff to Detroit, and they were right. Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl, but Jared Goff has got a little something cooking right now. The guy's, super talented, and with this young wide receiving core, he's doing a great job. They got a 1-2 punch in Gibbs and Montgomery.
Yeah.
Big issue is tight end Sam Laporta. Tight end Sam Laporta getting hurt last week is devastating, and that is the one X factor that could be trouble. That being said, Detroit at home plays like a whole different team. They're at home in the confines of Detroit with that fan base. Jared Goff, everyone, they just step up. Dan Campbell, he's a gunslinger, okay? He's going to take some chances. He's going to leave it all out in the field. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, great wide receivers. They got a really good running back as well in that team. When Aaron Donald's on the team, that defense has to be accounted for. Detroit, it may not be Super Bowl bound this year. We'll see how that goes. Well, each game we'll kind of get an idea where they're at. But for this game, the Detroit Lions take them all day, 2 units, -3. The Lions are going to get it done at home. They're going to win a playoff game. Long overdue. So Troy Aikman can now not be the guy known as the last team that the Lions beat in the playoffs.
All right, so let's move on to Monday night game one last time in case you're jumping around. We'll be live streaming this game starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll watch along with you, give a little play-by-play in case you aren't able to watch the game. You can listen to us and just have a good time, answer questions, all that fun stuff. Because this is an interesting one. This game, if you had said it like a couple of weeks ago, you'd almost think, okay, this is like, okay, Eagles got in, they're going to crush a low seed team. They're the dominant team. The Eagles, not saying it as a lifelong Eagles hater, but are very banged up versus a Buccaneers team that are banged up. And that's the matchup. It's the 11-6 Eagles from Philadelphia at the 9-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the insane thing is, like 5 weeks ago, Philly was 10-1, finished the season at 11-6, and they were coming in at just a 2-point favorite over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Baker Mayfield, who honestly is he's still young, but it is a resurgence in his career. He's found a little bit of life, has a little bit of an ankle injury right now. So let's make some predictions, and what do you think? And let's see if they come true live Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Baker Mayfield and this team, he's banged up, but he's doing it. I mean, he has big shoes to fill. Tom Brady, retired. In comes Baker Mayfield, and he hasn't disappointed. I mean, if the Eagles never would have thought that they would be playing in the playoffs in Tampa Bay. I mean, Philly was sitting 10-1, like you said. And now they're staring at a wild card, no chance of any home field games at all. It's shocking. As an Eagles, the Eagles fans are probably just ticked off. They're wanting their coach's head. They're saying Nick Sirianni, if he loses, in the playoffs and doesn't make a deep run, he could get fired, which I believe that because they've had problems.
Yeah.
Now they're walking into a situation where Jalen Hurts has a finger injury, but X-rays show it's a negative, so that's good. With A.J. Brown, who went down with a knee injury last week, but it sounds like that's not a big deal, and he's going to be back as well, so that's good. Devontae Smith, their other stud wide receiver, he sat out the last 2 weeks, I believe, and he's going to be good to go. This team is so talented, but defensively they struggled this year compared to last year, and offensively right now, the last few games, they can't seem to get it together. I mean, they literally got embarrassed by the New York Football Giants, which
I enjoyed it.
He did.
What did I say? I said, it's the last game of the season. I should just light $20 on fire on the New York Giants. And then I didn't. And then in game, they were minus 12.5. And I said, I still got $20 to light on fire. Didn't take it. And 24-10.
Yeah, it was 24-0.
The final score. And
Yeah.
like, if you know what, it might have been more of a moral victory than anything else, but it felt good. If that was Saquon's last game, at least he can go out beating the Eagles.
Yeah,
Or in the words of once great quarterback Tommy DeVito, I don't do it right. I'm a bad Italian.
Tommy DeVito. All right, so that being said, the Buccaneers at home, they've done well. They've done okay. They're come from a terrible division. Okay, that division is god awful. Eagles, who've been struggling and limping in, it's been ugly. It's been ugly. I mean, the Eagles are definitely not what everyone thought they would be when they were priced in at 10-1. A lot of people question their defense, but they didn't think they would have this much trouble. Nor did I. I picked against them at the end against a lot of these teams that they lost to, but I thought in the end they would recover against the Arizona Cardinal type teams, Seahawks, and the Giants, and they didn't. So it was gross. Bottom line, though, the Eagles have enough in the tank. The tush push is going to be real, and the Philadelphia Eagles are going to get it done on Monday Night Football. They're minus 2 points, favored by 2. We're going to ride with the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. I haven't picked them in a while. 4 units, baby. Take it to the bank. Monday Night Extravaganza, live stream. Tune in to watch us, and we'll talk, chat with the game, and watch the Eagles take care of business against this mediocre at best Tampa Bay Buccaneers team led by Baker Mayfield. It's going to be ugly. Fly, Eagles, fly. Boom.
All right, guys. So before we wrap it up, I want to take a minute to say something, and I don't want to get into details. One of the reasons why we were not here last week was I lost a family member minutes to midnight, literally at the end of the year. I'm being honest. I'm a dog person, so she was part of the family. She was here my whole time in Las Vegas. My little Doxy Tiki left us, but that's not what I'm here to say. What I want to say is it made me think about a lot of stuff, about wanting to do this podcast the past year, about different things, taking chances in life. And I realized that if anything you're sitting on right now, if you're thinking about doing your own podcast, not sports related, please don't be a competitor. But if you're thinking about trying something new, mixing up things in your life, now is the time to do it. Don't keep waiting like I waited to make a New York Giants bet this weekend and could have made some money. But there's a lot more out of there. So honestly, before you go watch the rest of this video or make another sports bet, think about what's important to you. Think about who's important to you. Take half a second, go in the other room, tell your significant other or your kid or your pet you love them. Give them a scratch or a treat. Maybe don't scratch the kid. That might not go over too well. And if you're just watching this and thinking about what you're going to do the rest of the night, do something that's going to make you happy. And we thank you guys for watching. We appreciate the first full season is in the books. We're doing the wild card now, getting to the playoffs. And then we do hope you'll stay tuned beyond that, because in the weeks and months to come, we're going to branch this out of this little tiny confine of an office, aka spare bedroom in my house, and do some more stuff for you. We talked about enjoying Vegas and having fun, and that's my whole message. Like, this is the life we get, so enjoy it. Don't worry about what other people think about you or anything else. Do what you enjoy, and do your best at it. You'll always end up where you're supposed to be with that. So thank you for that, Feather.
Yep. Like I said, we love what we're doing. We love bringing it to you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. We're going to continue to do so. We got plenty of time left in the playoffs, and like you said, in the months ahead, we got tons of stuff we want to do for the channel and bring you guys along with us. So until Monday.
Monday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep, Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll
wait till you see him when I can't edit out all the flubs and all the mistakes. Actually, no, I want to say for the record that Thanksgiving broadcast, you were the best ever. Like, literally, you do so much better live. That's why I want to do this.
I try, man.
And maybe we go live next year.
Sounds good to me. But till then, enjoy this weekend's games. We're going to get it done. We're going to take it to the bank. We're going to go 6-0. Boom.